Good afternoon, guys. My name is Luke. Welcome to Ruth Farms. Today, we're going to start on a project that I've had on the back burner for a while now. If you guys were with me back in the early spring, early part of the year, you know that my brother and I went to South Carolina and we purchased this bed on a different Ford truck. Well, you guys, we've made the deal. It's a new liter L7020. It's not exactly what I wanted because it's a narrow body. It's a high side. It ain't gonna hold as much, but we can spread lime with it from what I've read. And overall, body's in pretty good shape. The truck is junked. We got her loaded. She's on the trailer. That was a job. These back axles are locked up tight. And then we purchased this Ford truck, which had a like electrical utility type bed on it. Had big toolboxes. Had a crane with an auger and all that on it. We took all that stuff off and we retrofitted this bed onto this truck. And then, you know, got like $2,500 I think in the bed. Had like that much or more in the truck. And then I spent some money on hoses and whatnot getting the bed to work. Well, then like 2.5 loads into us spreading chicken litter with this truck, the chain in the back broke. The main chain that drags the poop out of the bed of the truck into the spinners. The chain broke, which then led to a broken hydraulic motor on the truck. So if y'all remember, I actually broke down like right here, right across the road from my house. Very first pass of the load. Probably loaded a little heavy, and it might have been a little soupier than it should have been. Needless to say, it broke the chain. The chain was rotten. So we ordered a brand new chain at that point in time. I think it ended up being about $2,400. Got a little better chain. We got more. I think on the last one, the flat bars here were every 4 or 5 teeth. So we got about twice as many bars now. And I have a brand new hydraulic motor sitting here, which is supposed to be identical to our old one. Like I said, that was probably in March or April, and it's now about the middle of August. I had a neighbor let me borrow his truck to get through the spring, and I just haven't needed it, so it's been put on the back burner. But fall is quickly approaching us. We're going to need it to spread chicken litter on our wheat ground. I plan on getting some lime hauled in here, and with this particular bed and that chain, I'm supposed to be able to spread lime. That way we don't have to pay somebody else to spread our lime, as well as the new ground that we picked up this year. They are clearing about 15 to 20 acres on it, so there'll be that much new ground that I have to spread chicken litter on to get the ground built up. Kind of thinking that I'll probably spread some lime and chicken litter on it this fall, and maybe work it into the ground, plant a cover crop of some sort on it, and then maybe put some more chicken litter on it in the spring, and we will likely plant corn on that ground. If any of y'all have any recommendations for that, let me know down in the comments. But batteries have died sitting here, so we definitely need to put a battery disconnect. I think I've got a couple, but we need a battery disconnect on the old girl. And we've got to I'm gonna pull the spreader parts of the truck bed. I'm gonna pull them off. There's a couple of rusted spots on the back I want to patch, and we got to put the new chain in and then get the spreader bolted back up. So we got a lot to do. Let's get this thing cranked and get it pulled in the shop. Oh yeah. Okay guys, so I'm going to leave the truck running for a minute while I get my ideas together. Probably going to have to pull the truck up and get my skid steer back here to pick up on the rear end. My plan is to pull this whole spinner assembly off here. It's got a couple bolts. It's got one bolt there, but the bolt's about wore completely out. The hole's about wore completely out. The hole up there is busted out. And these bolts here are pretty much gone. That one there is completely gone as well. So I'm going to take this completely off. When our chain broke, it wadded up underneath this piece, which caused this piece to break. Y'all can see that crack up in there. So this whole piece needs to be jacked up, welded back in, and then I'm going to have to do some welding and beating here and here as well, I believe. And then I also want to do a little bit of patching along the side here. Probably put some channel iron, some angle iron or something along these lines just to kind of brace that back up. Don't really do anything, but I would rather it be fixed while it's off and everything's easy to access. So I do want to build some new spinner pieces. Like this one right here is a factory one, and these are some that somebody has cobbled up. So I want to build some like that to match these, just to ensure a good quality spin, you know, so we'll get a good quality coverage across the whole area back here. But I guess first things first, I need to get this stuff cut out of the way. That way I can go to patching and beating and whatnot. So let's get the torch out, get the skid steer to hold this piece up, and let's whack a couple bolts off here and here, and then we'll go from there. So I've got my skid steer here with the bucket on it. I'm just going to chop those 2 bolts off and let it fall into the bucket. So that's the hope anyway. So I've got my skid steer here with the bucket on it. I'm just going to chop those 2 bolts off and let it fall into the bucket. So that's the hope anyway. Try to be quick with this because I've got a fitting here on my torch that's cracked. And it does leak a little bit. Alright guys, so part of what we got going on here, y'all can tell there's a big gap right here. It goes up the side of the bed. What's happened is over the years, the bed is one flat piece and then the ends are bent down like that and welded. Well, what's happened is poop and water, where they've left it sitting out and haven't took care of it, has gotten down here in this crack and it's rotted the metal out right here. So I've got these pieces off of a conveyor that I bought for the corn bagging machine last year that I'm hoping I can fit in here. Let this small piece right here come over onto this flat, and I'll weld it down and then put the top up here and weld it. And I'm hoping that'll get us by a few years. You know, this bed is rusted, it's old, so it's not gonna last forever, but if I can get, you know, maybe 5 years, 10 years out of it or something, and I'm gonna take and try to keep it in the shed all the time once we get it fixed. So hopefully we'll fix some of this rusting issues, but I'm just trying to get it to get through for a little while. And I've also took this piece off here where the truck frame, or the bed frame, if y'all can see down through there, it's very bright. The frame is eat out down through there, and they just took this piece and put it across there and bolted it in. Well, right here where they bolted it close to the top, when the chain broke, it bent this whole front down and it cracked it right there. So I'm gonna have to try to grind that and get it back together and weld it back together. And then I'm gonna put a piece similar to it. I've just got it sitting in there right now on this side. Try to strengthen it up, bracing it up a little bit. Try to keep some of the rust from killing us for a few years. I would love to get a bigger truck eventually, bigger bed, nicer truck, but we gotta get this to get through for now. All right, y'all, so we made a little progress here. This big old gap here. I found these pieces off of an old conveyor we had, and I've got it cut down. I'm just gonna take and weld it. May not weld it all the way. We'll just see how I feel. Weld it top and bottom down through there. I'm gonna do it on both sides, and then that should help with that rotting. It's not quite as bad, I don't think, up towards the front as it is back here in the back. So I'm going to try to get this welded in, maybe get the other piece ready and welded in, but that's a lot of dang work. I'm give out. Whew. So see what happens. Hopefully this welds decent. I'll clean it up about as good as I'm able to. I might have to do some beating and banging and getting it in place, but I'm gonna get my welder ready here and let's get at it. Good afternoon, guys. Welcome back to the shop here. It's been a little while since we worked on this project. As y'all can see, I got it pulled out here. I just took it for a spin up the road, got the batteries charged up good, got the motor warmed up good. I'd say it's been at least a good solid month since I touched base on our spreader truck project. Last thing we were doing, we were welding the inserts, as you can still see, sitting here on my floor in my shop, into the bed back here, where when that chain broke, it broke part of the bed out and it was kind of rotten anyway. So we were welding in these supports here. Y'all can see this right through here is getting eat out, but these pieces here kind of come over up enough to cover up a lot of that bad, and up towards the front it's not actually eat up. So anyway, we are working on getting that done. I got to weld this other side in, and then we got to do some work back here. As you can see, these pieces here, this right here is eat up. It had a piece of angle iron somebody had already put here, but when it broke out, this piece here came down and broke that angle iron. So we're gonna have to do some welding on it. And while we're here, I'm gonna go ahead and put this other piece of angle iron in here. We're gonna have to trim out right here for our bolt heads back here, and then we're gonna bolt this to that or weld it. I'm not sure which. Got to do those two things, and then I think we'll be ready to throw our new chain in here, which we've had now probably 7 months, 6, 7 months, 8 months. I'm really bad about procrastinating, and I need to get better at that, but this is a project that I don't want to work on right now. It's taking all my motivation to want to work on it right now. It's just one of those things that's just aggravating, having to grind all this stuff and then it don't weld good. But you know what, we got to get it done, because we have some wheat fields that we are going to have to fertilize very soon here. We just now finished shelling our first part of our corn, our earlier corn, about 20 to 25 acres. It was pretty poor. Hopefully you guys have seen that now. We averaged somewhere in that 60-70 bushel range. I haven't sat down and ran the numbers yet of exactly what we got. But anyway, we got that done. We had getting the combine ready, got all that stuff done beforehand. We put new tires on our dump truck, new steer tires that is. There's just been a lot of stuff on top of my brother and I have started attending a CDL school. We're both going to get our Class A CDL license. We hope to get a CDL or a vehicle that requires CDL on the farm very soon. Technically speaking, in North Carolina, we don't have to have a CDL. We just need a Class A license, being we're a farm. But you know what? We're going to go ahead and do it. We'll be legal. Technically speaking, this truck here and our dump truck require a CDL. I'm not even sure what the GVWR on this truck is, but it's got air brakes. But like our dump truck, it's a 29,000 pound GVWR. And technically, driving that and pulling the skid steer, like when pulling the trailer with my skid steer when I haul it to the litter, to haul litter, technically that would require a Class A CDL from what I understand. So needless to say, we're going to get it, we'll have it, we won't have to worry about it again. Hopefully we'll never let them expire or anything, but it's taken all of me to get that class. I mean, we're having to go to that Monday through Thursday, basically all day, and then we're trying to come home and farm and get all this equipment ready. I'm whooped, I'm exhausted now. It's actually a Sunday, and I typically don't work on Sundays, but I feel like I need to be out here at least piddling a little bit, just because it's, you know, time's running out. It's about time. I'm gonna start planting some wheat and oats on our what we had corn on very soon, and we're gonna need some chicken litter on that. So go get my truck ready. I don't want to have to borrow anybody else's stuff this year. I'm tired of borrowing stuff. So yeah. Oh yeah. All right guys, so I just got our piece tacked in place here all the way down. Now we're gonna start welding it all the way out. Sitting here in the shop on a beautiful Sunday evening. It's fairly cool out. watching right now Brian's farming videos. I would jump back and forth to some other people, but my remote's down there, somewhere down here, and I'll be honest with you, I don't want to get off. So we're going back through watching all their videos, but let's get some welding done. I'm gonna try to get this piece in and probably call it for today. It feels good out here today. It's probably in the 70s, but I'm hot in this jacket and gloves, so let's get to welding. Well, that's all she's going right for tonight. We got this piece welded in fully. Got all the little holes welded in. Everything looks good. Finished up this side. If y'all can tell up there, the shiny welds. Just got those welded. I've got to do a little bit of grinding here. Any of these spots that's raised up where the chain is going to ride, I want to make sure those are perfectly flat. We don't want this chain catching or dragging on anything. I don't see any reason why me welding these pieces in here will hinder the chain. The chain is not, you know, it ain't wide enough to touch the sidewall over there or anything. And it's going to be a little higher here. This surface is going to be a little higher than this surface. But if y'all can look down through there, if it picks up, this thing is already kind of wavy. So it's probably going to leave a little bit of chicken litter there in the middle, which is going to be fine. It is what it is. I'm planning on, once we get this thing fixed and running, I'm planning on keeping it in the shed on a farm. You know, when we're not using it. So if it gets, it's not going to get wet. And, you know, when we're done of a year, or, you know, say this fall we use it, when we finish up, we'll try to clean it out, maybe blow it out with a leaf blower or something as good as we can, and then coat that chain down good with like a diesel fuel and used engine oil mixture to just to kind of lubricate everything, keep everything from rusting. Essentially, with this truck here, we're trying to put lipstick on a pig. You know, it's not in very great shape. The truck engine is not very strong. You know, it's not pretty. It doesn't hold near as much litter as I would like for it to hold. We're trying to do this to get through maybe a couple years. If everything goes good, hopefully we can sell this thing. You know, maybe $10,000, $15,000. We've seen some really junk trucks. I looked at several on auction. I mean, the truck and the bed were absolute junk. Chains were junk, and I mean, they brought $6,000 and $7,000, and those were with gas motors. So I'm hoping maybe we use this couple years until we get prepared to upgrade, maybe get $10,000 to $15,000 out of it, and then maybe we'll spend an extra $5,000 or something on it and get something a lot nicer and a lot bigger. We'll see how that goes, but hopefully this will be, once we get this thing fixed, it will at least get us through for a couple of years. I know we need to put a seal on this hydraulic cylinder. This cylinder raises and lowers the tailgate back here. So like when you're empty, you lower the tailgate all the way down, load it up, and then there's a button in the cab once you turn the PTO on, and then you have this little gauge here. You just figure out where you want it set, and then after you know, you get to the field, get ready to start spreading, you just open that gate up in the truck. So got to rebuild that cylinder. I know we broke the wires off in this solenoid when we pulled something off here before, and I actually got this solenoid off of the utility bed that used to be on this truck, so that saved me probably a couple $100. Got to get it wired in. I just tested it a few minutes ago to verify that it worked. Once we get this chain, we gotta get the new chain installed. I'm gonna do just a little more work here on the bed. I'll probably clean this up a little bit, put some paint on it. It ain't gonna last, but anything to keep the chicken litter from eating it up. And then, like I said, we got to do some work down here on these supports that'll hold the spinner unit up. And I may end up redoing the spinner units themselves. We'll just see. But we're getting closer. You know, this is one of the parts I was really dreading, just because it's long and monotonous. You know, I have a little bit of ADHD, and that monotonous stuff drives me nuts. Like, I like doing stuff for a short amount of time, and this doesn't allow me to do that. This probably took me a good hour and a half to 2 hours, maybe 3 hours by the time I cleaned it up, got it in place, tacked it all up, and then welded all that, because we're looking at probably maybe 30 feet worth of weld, 25 to 30 feet worth of weld. So that took a considerable amount of time, and it wasn't hard work. It's just, again, the monotonous thing. But we're going to get there. We're going to get the old girl back to running, and I sure hope it's going to work and work good for us, because we got a lot of litter to put out. Like I've said in previous videos, or at least hopefully y'all have heard it in previous videos, we're picking up some new ground that, you know, has had trees on it. They've been clearing it. So we're going to have a lot of chicken litter to spread with this truck, on top of all the other chicken litter that we already spread. So old girl's going to get a workout, that's for sure. Chains are ticking. I think ticking's that little thing over there. We don't have it hooked up yet. We got our pieces here, tacked up. They don't look great, but we got them tacked up. We're gonna weld them out. We got our little gusset pieces we put on there. I'm gonna weld them out now. See how it does.